Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening of Monday, the 15th of September, 2025, just after 6:25 p.m. Central Time. Getting darker and darker at night. Isn't that sort of interesting? You know, summer's basically over. We're getting into the fall season. We'll see what it brings. Still warm weather, but, you know, it's changing when it's getting darker earlier. You can see in the metal markets, you're still moving to the upside in the gold, the silver, and the copper, basically. The dollar got hit today, but you're really not following through in currencies one way or the other, and why should they? They're waiting to see a couple of events that happen in the next 48 hours. You start the two-day FOMC meeting on Tuesday. On Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Central Time, we will get the Fed announcement at 1:30. And by the way, we'll get the announcement and the dot plots. So that's going to be poured over before the Fed chair even starts talking at 1:30 in the afternoon. The argument by many analysts is, does he go 50 basis points or 25 for the cut? I am in the camp of 25, but I can see if the data stays as it's been doing, that you get another 25 and then another 25 this year. But I don't see the Fed giving you a 50 and looking to see what that does. I think they'll roll it out. And the reason I say that is because CPI came in hot. And as long as that CPI is doing it, the Fed chair is doing this. He's turning his head and he's looking over his shoulder going, where's that number again? We don't want to fuel the fire of inflation. So gradual steps, but got to help the labor market. And to do that, they're now signaling the rate cut cycle is upon us. How many? Hard to tell. Markets will figure that out in due time. Energy markets pretty stable tonight is probably the best word. As you can see, even Scott Bessent today made a statement as he's dealing with the Chinese negotiators, and they think they've done a deal on TikTok. We'll see if they've done anything, whatever they use the word framework. Framework's not a deal. Framework is you've set something up and maybe you can get a deal done. We'll see if that's it. But most important, he keeps mentioning what the president smartly did. And what the president, Trump, did was he said, hey, Europe, you want help with your Ukraine war and shutting off Russian funds? You got to hit India and China. And you got to do it with steep penalties if they're buying Russian oil. If you do that, we'll come further to the table. Put the onus where it belongs on Europe, and it's exactly what he has done, so we'll see where that all goes. You haven't heard anything from Israel. Israel's turning inward. It told its country that it's got to build more weapons by itself. It's got to not start counting on other things because the way Israel is going, they are a pariah in the international community. I mean, people are looking at what's going on in Gaza, and it's a very difficult situation for a lot of people. I understand, I think, both sides of the story, and I'll leave it at that. When we look at what's going to come up tomorrow, you're going to get the August import-export price data at 7:30. Redbook, I knew I said that wrong. Redbook weekly retail sales will be at 7:55. We're going to get the Federal Reserve monthly individual production and capacity utilization at 8:15. National Association of Home Builders, their monthly housing index will be at 9, and we'll see business inventories at 9. Are any of these going to be market-shaking events? Nothing as important as Wednesday's event in the market. I think it was interesting to see that on Friday, Elon Musk bought $1 billion worth of Tesla stock, putting it up 25% today once the market saw that filing that he had to do. But what he's betting on is he may not make the pay package of taking Tesla to a 30, I think, what is it? Is it a $10 billion company? I think that's what he's got to take it to, a $10 billion company, and hit certain guideposts. But he's going to give it the old college try, and along the way, guess what? The stock will go up in his mind and his pocketbook, if that's what he's thinking. Okay, we'll see. Let's now move on to the chart. Where are the charts? Let's get back to those. There they are. I knew I'd get them over here. So here we go. Let's take a look. As you can see, you're at a record high. If you were to finish out right now on a weekly basis, you're half a percentage point up for the week. The market is still climbing up. It did have some sideways action for quite a period of time, actually, from that top to this bottom. But most of the market, as you'll know, had the swing line come back to life to the upside. It did that at the end of August and is now carried through that way for about 3 weeks, still climbing that wall. The market fought its battle at the 18-day average of closes. And as I teach you here, markets like to hang around a moving average, a key one, and from there determine what they're going to do. And we certainly had the ups and downs ever since July of doing that. And finally, the market has decided this is the event, the Fed cycle, where they're going to cut interest rates, that they're moving up. Is the market getting excessive over the upper Bollinger Band? Absolutely not. It gets to it, it backs away, and then it gets to it again. And during the course, it's now embedding. So until the red line closes under 79, this market still looks to me strong as can be. The NASDAQ is doing the same thing. It's handling the upper Bollinger Band the same way. Remember, markets only stay over an upper or lower Bollinger Band in the universe of time overall 5% of the time. But on the breaks, the markets often tend to get bought until that embedded reading is lost, which it's not done. That is not the case in the Dow. In the Dow, let me see if I can back it off, in fact. Here was the close today at 79.10. You might lose the embedded reading without a stronger gain than this. Being down 11 points tonight is getting you close to the 78 number. You have to be under it on a closing basis. 79.5 was not. So this market is still, as I see it, in a bullish scenario, but on the weaker side of it. And in the Russell, it's the same thing. It's not the leader. The leaders have become the Dow and the S&P. So not the Russell right now. It's hanging in and watching. In the DAX, I wish I could tell you I'm even remotely surprised, but I'm not. When we were coming down here, I kept telling you, Bollinger Band, first challenge of the 100-day average. Pros are covering shorts with idea and hope maybe they can get back up to the 18-day average to figure out what to do. And that's where you're at. Now they're trying to figure out what do they do with that. That'll be the interesting game for a little bit here. In the 10-year notes, notice how you're flirting with losing the embedded reading. Did we lose it on the close today? Let me get to this right now. Here's today's close. Nope. Flirting with it. 79.78 number, not under the 79. And right now you're at 76.99, but it's an intra-evening number. I mean, if you start making new highs, you'll probably get over that 79 figure again. Is this a spot to become a hero? Absolutely not, in my opinion. If the market drops, you could be going back to the 18-day average of closes. In the 2-year note, you lost the bullish embedded reading a while ago. I still think you can get back to that 18-day average. Now, if that's the case, what is the story it's saying? It's probably saying the market agrees, or traders agreed that prices should have declined, but going into the first cut, how much of it's already in the market for the economy? That's what they're talking about. In the dollar index, to get me excited on the bear side, this is what you have to take out. This is just waves of noise to me, very difficult, not worth even trying to be a hero to catch. You have to embed in the euro to get me excited. You're not there. You're overbought. And each time you come up to the Bollinger Band, 48, 72 hours later, you're back down apparently at that 18-day average. Until that changes, it ain't changed. In the British pound, I'm much more bullish the pound than people think. You've got the higher lows, the higher highs. It needs to embed, which it hasn't done. It's overbought, but it's stronger looking than most of the other currencies. Mexican peso's really looking strong. Bitcoin came up to the upper band, pulling back. Look for support at the 18-day average around the 113,000 level, but this overbought condition keeps me a bit back in the market. And in the energies, as I said, they're trying to figure out what does all this mean. I mean, I'm hearing stories from the bulls. I'm hearing stories, people saying, oh, you can't be short. This is going to be about Russia and you're going to lose that oil. First off, there's other oil that can replace it. That's the first thing. Number two, you're making a big assumption that the European Union's going to take out two pistols, shoot itself in the foot, cut off all the natural gas it buys from them, from some of the countries that they have no say over. Hungary, it's not going to stop buying the energy out of Russia. Is Belarus, they're not going to do this. There's European countries, they're going to argue left and right. It's not a done deal. Without that fear, I think you're going to be oversupplied in the market. In WTI, you've got lower highs, higher low making. Heating oil, this is where we start now focusing instead of gasoline. We'll see, but you've got the swing line down, but the bias up. The market's in a state of I don't know what to do. And you're still in a bit of a bear trend in that gas, but you can't seem to grab traction to the downside on each of these breaks. In very short order, they're popping back up. You have to get down and stay down for me to say 277.5, 20 cents lower roughly, is in the cards. It could be. But if you take out now the 305 level, you negate that whole idea. So very difficult right here as to which way to go with it. What isn't difficult is giving you trading advice. What isn't difficult is giving you opinions. What isn't difficult is backing it up with charts. So if you haven't seen what I do and what the Linn Group does, just move your cursor to the top. You'll see an icon. Give it a click, or go to iraepstein.com, choose from the free offerings there, and you see if what you're seeing makes any sense to you. In the meantime, I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening. I hope to see you in the other videos tonight. I'll catch you first thing in the morning. Finish out your evening with a nice little drink, I hope. Take care.